Hi, this is Michael back. This video is about a performance needs analysis that was conducted as part of a web accessibility training series for faculty at a university. Basically, the faculty were struggling to implement web accessibility into their classrooms, and if they taught online in their digital learning spaces. So an instructional designer was contacted to fill these gaps of knowledge and skill, and the instructional designer began with the first letter in ADDIE, which is A, which stands for analysis. Just a quick caveat before getting started, this is a fictitious needs analysis, so what is written in the needs analysis doesn't represent the views of the organizations that I work for. So Cropper identifies 11 performance factors that influence performance. They are on the left-hand column here, and we'll see each one appear on each slide. Will have a different performance factor. And then the criterion on top are the desired situation, the current situation, the causes of the current situation, and recommended solutions. So I used Cropper's model as the basis for conducting the needs analysis. It's very thorough and talks about many of the different factors that play into performance so that we can identify what people aren't doing and why they aren't doing it. So to start with processes and systems, faculty review their courses for accessibility as a desired situation. We want them to update their courses and develop new courses according to accessibility best practice. And they should know what is expected of them and where to locate these resources. Currently, not a whole lot of this is happening. Faculty are somewhat aware of accessibility. They know what the word is. They know that it's a hot topic in higher education, but they don't have the skills presently to implement it into their classrooms in a legitimate, sophisticated way. And there's no review process for checking for accessibility in individual classrooms. So the recommended solution for this, I actually did recommended outcomes. Faculty can describe the accessibility practice they use and why they use them. The solution for this might be solved by training and email communications. And the second outcome is faculty can demonstrate the technical computer skills involved with accessibility, which would require in-person training and assessment. So the second performance factor is commitment and self-empowerment. When I first saw this, the self-empowerment component immediately got me thinking about Bloom's affective domain, which is how information connects to and enriches the self. So I used verbs from Bloom's affective domain throughout this portion of the chart. So the desired situation is that faculty value accessibility and they can talk about its positive impact on learners in their content area. They appreciate and continually improve upon their working knowledge and skill set of accessibility. The reason I think that is important right now is because technology keeps changing. So accessibility is something that we're always going to have to keep an eye on and work on over time. It isn't like you can read a book about it and then you're good for the rest of your career. As new technologies are implemented and as they change, it's important to stay current with accessibility trends or accessibility best practice. And then finally, faculty are committed to revising their courses to implement accessible course content. So they should be actually implementing this, not just in their new courses, but making sure all their coursework is accessible. Currently, they know that it's important, but don't fully understand its value. They do it upon request, but there's no way to tell if it was done correctly. Some faculty might be disappointed in their computer skills. They don't have the skills to revise their course content for accessibility, even if they wanted to. The causes of this, or potential causes, could be time constraints, gaps in foundational computer skills, a lack of awareness of accessibility, projection bias, which is if this is how I learn, this is how my students will learn. It's kind of an assumption that the way that we learned was best practice, and sometimes that's not the case. So recommended solutions for the commitment and self-empowerment area are, again, these are outcomes. So recommended outcomes are that faculty will contribute to a supportive culture of error in which mistakes are viewed as learning opportunities. Culture of Error is taken from Doug Lemoff's book, Teach Like a Champion 3.0, and it's just it's a learning environment in which mistakes are valued and seen as an opportunity to grow. So I think that's necessary when talking about accessibility, because there are, among faculty, even among brilliant faculty, there are a range of ability or skill when it comes to using computers. And so we can't expect immediate perfection. This is something that will require a growth mindset. Second, appreciate the vast array of learning styles and levels of ability and the value of intellectual diversity. I don't think there's one specific way for us to get there, so I didn't propose a recommended solution, but that is a recommended outcome. And identify the roles of shame and stigma in the academic life of students with disabilities, emphasizing how accessibility is an opportunity to include students from various life predicaments. So in employing accessibility, faculty should be able to know why they're employing it and be able to connect it to diversity, equity, inclusion in the classroom. So I'm going to skip through a couple of categories because we're short on time and it's kind of the same process. I will touch on business outcomes. What I did was the desired situation, what I did was devise a KPI. So if I was working with a stakeholder with the institution, this might be something that we worked out together, but for now I just came up with one on my own. So the key performance indicator is that 5 randomly selected courses will be reviewed for accessibility, and the findings will show that courses are 75% accessible according to institutional guidelines by December 31st, 2025. So that has a lot of different elements that currently aren't happening. So there's no review process currently that I'm aware of for accessibility, and that I'm aware of, there are no institutional guidelines for accessibility, and the institution lacks kind of a robust accessibility rubric. There are the web content guidelines, which applies to everything, but they're honestly too dense for me to read. I'm an instructional designer and I deal with technology, so I think for a faculty whose content area isn't computers, the web content accessibility guideline might be harder to implement. So my recommended solution, okay, go back. My recommended solution for the business outcomes, I'm sorry that we're on the wrong side, it won't let me go back, is to set yearly goals for improvements in the key performance indicator. I don't know what best practice is for devising those, but like I said, I think this is something that would happen back and forth in a conversation with the key stakeholders to see what is reasonable and what is actionable. Okay, so that was a brief overview of Cropper's performance analysis worksheet, which I used to conduct a needs assessment.